guys, today's video is going to be a 3-minute review of the new Narsissist 15 eyeshadow palette. So let's get started. If you don't know by now, NARS has come out with this 15 eyeshadow palette of some of their most favorite eyeshadows ever. And it looks like this, and I will insert a picture of this while I'm talking. And this video is going to be a little bit different as there's not going to be a blog post on my actual blog because these shades don't really swatch that well and it's hard to photograph them and it's weird. So anyway, let me get into it. So this has shades. The shades are also not on the palette. They are only on the back of the box. So if you throw away the box, you just won't know what they are. But it has shades like All About Eve, Ashes to Ashes, Fez, Bad Behavior, Bali, Bruce, Coconut Grove, Madrag, and Bellissima. Like, these are all shades that are either in their single eyeshadows or their duo eyeshadows. And there's one shadow that I do have that's in this palette, and that is the Bad Behavior, which is the shade here. I'm trying not to blind you. My lights are really bright. This shade here, this gray. If you watched my previous NARS Guy Bourdon holiday collection, I talked about the Bad Behavior in that one, but that eyeshadow was actually a cinematic finish that they released new only for the holiday collection, and it's different from the actual holiday collection. So if you see bloggers comparing Bad Behavior in here to the Bad Behavior single that they have, it's a totally different shadow formula. So, you know, those comparisons, you can't really compare the two in my opinion because they're completely different finishes. But anyway, as for the shades, it's also, ooh, cracked. It's also pretty, it's all neutral. You know, we're getting a little tired of the neutral palettes. I am a little bit, but yeah, here's the shade. So here is why I am not swatching them on my blog. I don't know if you can see that. It is barely on my finger, and that's the black, and that's the darkest shade. You know, put it down here. That's the darkest shade in the palette, and if I do this, that's how they swatch. So I definitely think the swatches are a bit misleading in here if you swatch it on dry skin. So here's the next shade above that. I'm not sure what it is because they don't print it on here, and it's there. They don't swatch that well, and I think seeing skin swatches is really going to throw you off when thinking about this palette. So that's another thing to consider as well. It does not swatch well with the skin. It does apply very pigmented on the eyes. I am wearing it today. I have the darker shade that I just swatched on the outside corners of my eyes. You definitely need to apply this with a brush, and you need an eyeshadow primer. So I would say if you're really new to eyeshadows, maybe this is not the one that you start off with, you know, because they can be a little bit tricky to work with. And some people were complaining that like the beginning shades, the lighter shades don't show up on their skin. And I mean, those are, you know, really transition-y shades, and yeah, I got a lot to say about this thing. It won't stop. So those are really, you know, transition-y shades, and they really don't swatch. They're really good highlight colors. But again, I really think this does not swatch well on naked skin, so I will not be posting those misleading photos on my blog. I really think if you have an oily eyelid, or if you use a primer, which you must with these, that it can be a very beautiful palette and you can create some really nice looks with it. But overall, now we get to the kicker. This palette is $79. $79. Now, NARS singles are about $22 or $24, or their duos are about $20. So we're just gonna go with around the $20 mark. If you picked up, you know, 7 duos to get this, that's still way more money than you would pay in this $59. If my handprints are all over that. Can you see that? That's kind of gross. That's still less than you would pay picking this up. So yeah, I really enjoy this. I think it's difficult to work with, but if you're used to using eyeshadows and quality shadow brushes, you really won't have a problem with this. But if you're kind of over the nude kind of look, and it's winter and I know it's snowing outside here and it's just a really miserable day, you might save yourself $80 and go purchase something else. Yeah, that is just my 2 cents about it. But yeah, definitely don't let the disappointing swatches on your hand deter you from buying this, because it actually does apply very well when you put it on your eyes, which is weird. I don't know why you would pay $80 for a shadow that does that, but I don't own many NARS shadows, and some of the colors in here are really beautiful, so there's that. So that's my opinion on this. If you really like NARS, I would say go out and buy it. And if you are not a super huge NARS fan, maybe this is something that you would skip. This whole Narsissist collection, they have a cheap palette as well, is, you know, geared for the people who are super obsessed with NARS and just like to have these things in their collection. So I will leave all my information about this palette. I think it just released on Sephora today. I got this from NARS website maybe 2 weeks ago. And here's a quick tip, something I didn't know. If you do order from the NARS website, be very careful because you cannot return palettes and sets to NARS if you are unsatisfied with this. So I would say buy it from Sephora so that you can go and return it just in case you don't end up loving it, because it can be a little hard to work with. Again, I make new videos every Tuesday, and until my next video, I'll see you later. Bye!